Good morning and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy show with your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show airs each weekday morning, hella early AF, at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel, then 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Today, we're talking about urgency and productivity. What is the connection between having a sense of urgency and how one may enhance one's productivity? Really important topic today. If you are new to the show, you can go to productivethroughjoy.com. We speak to groups, schools, and organizations about being productive through joy and using the idea of retelling, reframing their story, individuals and collective groups and organizations' story to enhance their level of productivity. A really powerful and interesting approach to this. So check us out and see about us. All right, let's dive into the topic today. For those of you who are new to the show, allow me to say a few words about myself. This is your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. I am the author of the New York Times bestseller Raising Fences, which was a Today Show Book of the Month pick. That book's film rights were optioned by the actor Will Smith, whose people call My People, and I eventually agreed to write the screenplay for that particular project. I am also the author of the acclaimed historical novel Americas, which is set 13 miles from Ferguson, where, of course, Michael Brown's murder was happened, and the conflagration that ensued happened there as well. We just celebrated maybe is the wrong word. We just recognized another anniversary of that horrible death, murder at the hands of the state security apparatus of a young black boy, a teenager, on his way to college. My novel is set 13 miles from that spot. It is inspired by the intersection of race and violence in America. Really a powerful story. It examines the story of identical twin sons, one of whom gets vitiligo, the skin condition which makes people lose their melanin, their pigmentation in spots and splotches. All right, so look for that. I'm on my book tour now. I've been everywhere. It seems like I'm back in LA. I'll be coming upcoming show readings. I'll be at Pasadena College, City College in early September. I'll be in downtown LA at the last bookstore. Both of those are early September. Then I'll be heading back east in late September and October. So I'm sure I'm coming to a town near you. Look for me on social media or just the news. Okay, so again, today we're talking about urgency and productivity. In the morning show, we like to also talk about briefly mention the ideal of framing your day, before your day has a chance to frame you. At times we wake up with trouble in our mind, and that trouble has a way of following us throughout our day into the evening. Then we go to sleep with that same trouble on our mind. Then we find ourselves waking up with that trouble on our mind, maybe even with new troubles joining it as well. And so most people deal with some version of this in my experience, just being in the world, but especially people who are entrepreneurs, especially people who are living in some way outside the kind of normal structures of society, maybe artists or folks who just have non-traditional jobs. Those types of folk tend to have an additional overlay of stress. And as we know from modern science, stress is a killer. It can really destroy your heart, meaning initiate all types of heart disease, hypertension, etc. So we know that's a major thing that people deal with. People would like to prefer not to be living stressed the hell out because it has a way of debilitating the body, but also the spirit, and essentially your quality of life. Most of you who are adults, if you have kids especially, you know what that's all about. So we know that's a thing. So we like to practically help people deal with that. That's one of our very most practical services, because we know in order to fully be our best, it's best to be in joy. Because when you're feeling joyful, you feel more energized, you're willing to and able to go do the type of work that needs to be done. And also do it in such a way where you can be the most efficient, right? As opposed to having your mind caught up in the drama of the day, month, or year. So we talk about this ideal of framing the day in the context of a ritual. Ritual can be defined as essentially doing the same thing at around the same time. Let me give you it's best seen through example. Let me give you my brief morning ritual to serve as an exemplar. So in the mornings I wake up at 3:30 a.m. I read a couple of spiritual business books. I do this show at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel. Then at 5 I work on my current novel until sunrise. At sunrise I go out to the beach. I live along the coast here at Venice Beach, California, so I bring my drum, I meditate, I pray, I do yoga. It's really a beautiful time. I come back and work on my current book for a while longer, then go back to the beach to run up the coast all the way past Santa Monica Pier up the steps. So Santa Monica steps all the way around the pier, all the way back along the beach again, all the way back home to Venice Beach to go to my gym, Gold's Gym. So guys, by 10:30 or so, I'm feeling amazing. My body is being flooded with endorphins, and that endorphin release gives me a sense of euphoria that I can then leverage to move myself towards my goals and objectives. We're not saying do what I do, or we're saying do what you do. And we help individuals kind of craft, not even kind of, we help them craft a morning ritual. It could be something as short as 5 minutes. I know my morning rituals began simply as just a 5-minute attempt to meditate, which didn't go so well years ago. It took me a while to work up this particular morning ritual, and the ideal is it doesn't have to be an elongated, time-intensive thing. For me, over the years, I've needed to cultivate my own practice to do more. So mine may sound like way too much for you, but also because my schedule can be flexible, I can do flexible things with my time. So don't get freaked out or dismayed by my ritual. It's not about me, it's about what you can do to help you based upon your schedule, based upon your belief system, based upon your willingness to do something extra. We find that people who are leaders do that which other people are not willing to do. That's just my experience, right? And that isn't always true, but that's what I've seen in this work and also my own personal life. So from that, so as I mentioned, I read kind of spiritual books in the morning, indoor business books, and from those books I extract some wisdom, which I call the morning chant. I'm reading 3 great books now. One is called Owning the Moment, I'm at the very end of that book, which is a book that is just about what it sounds like on the title. It's a book about identifying moments and owning them or winning them. I'm also reading a book called The Nag Hammadi Reader now, which is a compendium of spiritual literature from the Gnostic tradition, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century tradition. Oftentimes those early 1st century, especially tractates, look at the life of Jesus, which is really interesting. I mean, whether you are a believer in Jesus or, like me, a layperson who's interested in history, in the life of the historical Jesus, not the person they lie upon, as a person interested in spirituality from a broad-based perspective, I think it's important to know the traditions and to do your research just to gather information about some of these figures. I find Jesus, the historical Jesus, really inspirational and powerful. So anyway, I'm reading that book, which is really amazing. Wow. As a sidebar, getting because many of in the so-called Foursquare Bible that we have in the modern Bible with the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that particular Bible is, just as an aside, is a kind of collection of writings that the church decided would be the canon, would be the Bible as we know it today. But there were many writings, purportedly also by the other apostles, as you may know the book of Acts, if you know the Bible, that following the death of Christ, they were charged with writing down all the things that Jesus had said to them in person and in private. And so there were at least 13 apostles, but 4, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those apostles appear in the Bible in terms of their particular, the 4 Gospels. Anyway, but there were other apostles, as you know. There was Mary, there was Peter, there was Judas. Well, those individuals also wrote down what Jesus said to them in person and private. And so anyway, this book has some of those early writings. Wow. I'm just saying that was a long sidebar, but I'm also reading a book called Cash in the Flash, which is kind of a book about, not kind, I keep saying the word kind of, it's not a book kind of, it's a book about the intersection of spirituality and entrepreneurial strategy. So, but from those books, I extract wisdom, which is called, which I call the morning chant. Today's morning chant is: as a meditating natural mystic, I am passionate, urgent love as I manifest dreams for my family, my community, and myself. So I contemplate that idea throughout the day, and also create the morning and afternoon shows based upon that idea. So today's show is about urgency. All right. So again, go to productivethroughjoy.com. Have me come out speak. Excuse me. Speak to your group, school, or organization about being more productive through joy. All right. Let's dive into the topic. And so point one is, you want to live with a sense of urgency in all aspects of your life, right? You want to live with a sense of urgency in all aspects of your life. I mean, I get wanting to relax after work, or I get wanting to take it easy, which is also fine. I mean, everyone needs to recalibrate. Something's in my eye. But you also want to be mindful of urgency, because, which goes right in what I'm getting at. You want to make what I'm getting at is you want to make urgency a lifestyle. That's point one. Point two is you want to understand that, listen, opportunities, which is why you want to be urgent and live in a space of urgency. Opportunities come and go, right? You may have heard of the ideal of the window of opportunity opening and closing. In my experience, that's how it goes. You have to be able to seize it. You have to be able to identify the opportunity, act urgently, do your due diligence, of course, but then move into action. That's just my experience, which goes right into point three. As you take that particular approach, you're going to see an up-leveling of your productivity, an up-leveling of your ability to manifest your dreams, manifest your particular goals and aspirations for you, your family, and as I like to say, in my community, because those three elements are intertwined for me. And that's important because you'll also offer an inspirational example to people around you. And that's really how the community benefits. I see it all the time. You know, when you just do you, at a heightened, urgent level, people listen. People are watching. People have dreams too. People around you want to do big things too. At times, they are overwhelmed by fear. I know I've allowed fear in my life, especially early in my life, to disable me from doing what I could have been doing. But I know I'm not alone in that problem, right? So, however, when you can operate as the initiating engine, when you just simply overcome those fears, because fear is natural. Everyone has fear. The key to success in life is fear management, because everyone's got fear. I know I've got a gang of them, trust me. But now I'm much better at fear management. By how? By engaging in morning ritual, engaging in practice, engaging in tapping into the primordial, the ineffable, the thing itself, the thing that is here first. That's my way. But there are many ways one can deal with fear. But overall, the overall impact of moving urgently and seizing opportunities when the window of opportunity is open, that leads to a tremendous elevation of your productivity. And you want to have that experience, because it will also give encouragement, inspiration to those around you who see and know your life. Boom goes the dynamite. That's it for today's show. We air each weekday morning, hella early, at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel. Then this afternoon at 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Thanks for being here, guys. Go to productivethroughjoy.com. Look for me all around. You can catch me on Tuesday nights on the radio on 90.7 FM if you're in LA, of course, but on the World Wide Web at kpfk.org. Our show, Beautiful Struggle. I'm currently on a book tour for my novel, America, so I'm sure I'm coming to a town near you. Look for me in the media, in the news, and on social media as well. Yeah, thanks for being here. We'll see you soon. Until then, let's talk about it, and let's be about it. Deuces.